Hey y'all, welcome back to the shop. It is after hours now. I got everything locked up, so grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's have a chat. About whatever you want. Let me know. If there's something you guys want to talk about in the next video, we can absolutely talk about it. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. For this one though, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Odyssey, because I have my concerns about the new film, but I also am very hopeful for it. And while we're doing that, in the background here, I'm just going to be working on my little 4-panel comic. That I am doing these little 4-panel comics now for practice. Excuse me, to get to get better at doing comics in general, because I've never really done them for public consumption before. So I figure we might as well get some practice in. So this is the third and fourth panel. Where's down there? Fourth panel for this 4-panel short. But anyway, the Odyssey. I have my concerns. We can go with concerns first, and then we can go for the hopefulness after that. So my initial concern with the Odyssey, and I apologize, I know in a lot of the videos I'm kind of distracted when I talk. I'm working on being able to speak and draw at the same time. So I apologize if it seems like I'm distracted. It's just because I'm focusing on the art. So for the Odyssey, my initial concern is the casting. And a lot of the time, casting is like, it can carry your film. In Troy, the casting absolutely carried that film. Not that it was a bad film, because I actually quite liked Troy. But the casting in that film absolutely carried it. And I think that's why a lot of people really like it today. Still, it holds up because the casting was so strong. Similarly, I think The Boys is well cast. And I think that show is not very good. It's not well written. It's not, in my opinion, it's not a very good representation of the comic after season 1. But the casting absolutely carries that show. Absolutely carries it. So it's important to cast your film well. And I'm okay with the Odyssey casting relatively unknown actors and actresses, as long as they sort of fit the bill, you know what I mean? Sorry, that music is really loud. I gotta turn that down a little bit. Supposed to be for mood music, but it's loud. Holy cow. And so this is why I have a concern with the way that it was cast, particularly with Zendaya being Athena. I have my concerns with Helen as well, and we'll get to that. But Zendaya is just such a short girl. At least I think she is. In all of the films I've ever seen her in, she's kind of short. And she doesn't have that presence that Athena has. I'm actually going to Google right now how tall Zendaya is, because I may be, eating my words on it, like she's 6'2" or something. No, and that would be silly, because maybe she does fit she's 5'10", okay, so she's not that tall. Certainly not Athena tall, and she absolutely does not give me the impression of the commanding presence that Athena is said to have. Even Homer describes her in the Odyssey as having a very commanding presence. I don't get that from Zendaya. All I get from her really is Tom Holland's girlfriend. That's all I get, is the Tom Holland's girlfriend vibe. I hate to say that, but I don't know, man. She doesn't really strike me as regal. She doesn't strike me as wise. And she does not strike me as a person with a commanding presence. Do we go with that mouth or like the worried mouth? Yeah, why not that one? That one looks good. You know, so that's my first concern, is that I don't think Zendaya works for Athena. I don't. I really, really don't. Because in the actual mythology, Athena was born from Zeus's head, fully grown. She's just a fully grown ass woman, born from Zeus's head, and she is the patron goddess of tactical warfare. And so, in the few stills that I've seen from the trailer, Zendaya does not look like Athena should, in my opinion. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in the film it's actually different. Because I know the trailers aren't always a good representation of how the film is actually going to be. And so I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm probably not going to go see this in theaters. But I will see it when it hits streaming. Because I am a big fan of these ancient Greek stories, like the Odyssey. I am just concerned about the casting choices. Now, I told you we'd get into Helen of Troy, so let's talk about Helen. Helen of Sparta, originally. Helen of Troy, after Paris stole her at the behest of Aphrodite, who used her love magic on her. And having Helen of Troy be played by one of the darkest female actresses I think I've ever seen seems like a misstep. And I hate to make it about her skin color being dark, because I've seen her in other projects and I think she's a good actress. I just think you need to be a little bit more, like, there are other characters that absolutely she could have played that were not Helen of Troy, who is classically described as having hair as if it was spun gold. And all I'm really going to say beyond that is, if you really think about it, Helen was born in Sparta, of Spartan parents, right? Well, her mother was Spartan, but her father was Zeus. And Zeus is classically described as a white guy, even though he's a god and really doesn't have a race other than, God, Olympian. Her mom is Greek, and Greeks from Sparta were classically olive-skinned. And so I just don't know why you wouldn't cast a beautiful Greek woman to be Helen. I just don't get that casting choice. It baffles me in the terms of storytelling, but it doesn't. It's less confusing when you consider that Christopher Nolan is out to win an award for them. That's the only reason he's doing it the way he's doing it right now. I always think that storytellers should be out there to tell the best story possible. And that is what I'm hopeful about. Even with the casting choices, I'm willing to give it a shot and see if the movie is actually worth... Sorry, that was loud. Is actually worth all of the hype. I doubt it. I am very skeptical, because I think it's very hard to adapt a poem like the Odyssey, because there's so much in the Odyssey that it's hard to keep all of the important things in it that absolutely have to be in it, and still make it an interesting film. So it almost ends up being, do you want to be entirely faithful or do you want to make an interesting film? And I'm curious to see if they can pull that balance off. And like I said, I'm skeptical. Very skeptical. And I cannot imagine this movie being less than 2 hours long. With the amount of stuff that's in the Odyssey, it's just like base level. Absolutely have to have this for the Odyssey to work. I cannot see a film being less than 2 hours long with just the base information. But, like I said, I'm very hopeful that it will turn out good. Don't know. Skeptical. Hopeful, but skeptical. So, I'm a big fan of these Greek stories. And I do really want there to be a good film out there that's based on the Odyssey. Matt Damon is just such an odd cast also. Like, I know he's in his, like, older person arc now, where he's trying to do the George Clooney thing and play the more mature roles. The older gentleman roles, I guess you could say. I just don't think this fits him. I really don't. And I'm not to say like a Matt Damon hater. I just don't know that this particular role necessarily fits the Matt Damon acting style. Because from some of the trailer that I've seen, it almost looks like they're trying to do like a Castaway sort of story instead of like this heroic epic where Odysseus uses his brains and his cunning to fight through all of these obstacles to try and get back home to Ithaca. And instead, he's kind of tormented by Poseidon the whole way. I just don't see that in the trailer. And it's disturbing to me and concerning. But again, the trailer is such a poor... Most trailers, I'll say, are often a really poor example of what the film is going to be like. That I just would like to see the film. I would. If I had the money to just throw away and go to the movie theater for, and the time for however long this is going to be, to see it, I would. I'm very curious to see what they do with Athena and how they use Zendaya as Athena to fill that role of a commanding tactical leader helping Odysseus, because she is Odysseus's like mentor, if you will. She is on Odysseus's side. She even argues with Zeus in the actual story, because Calypso has kept her on the island without means of possible escape at all, for 7 whole years. And she literally goes to bat for Odysseus against Zeus, like, can we please just free this dude? And they end up having to fight, put those on the wrong layer, having to fight with Poseidon over it. Because Poseidon is like got this super grudge against Odysseus. And it was all because of Odysseus' hubris. And so I'm also curious how they're going to do the Cyclops thing, because I did see the Cyclops in the trailer. So I'm curious how they're going to work that out with Odysseus versus the Cyclops. And then his hubris taunting the Cyclops is what causes the whole thing to kick off, basically. Their whole problem with Poseidon. So I don't know. I'm really hoping that it turns out good, because I really would like a nice, good film about the Odyssey. Like a good, high quality film, we'll say. That's not like one of those, like, B type movies like Jason and the Argonauts. That just basically should have been like a 2-episode special, or that was like a 2-episode special for released straight to TV or something. But the Jason and the Argonauts, the TV movie was actually really good. I will say, it's actually pretty good. I would also like to see a good, faithful adaptation of Hercules and his life, his journey, rather than, I don't know, the stuff we got in the past. The last one I remember getting for Hercules was The Rock, where he was a mercenary named Hercules. What a weird move to make. It was a strange film for sure, where he was like a mercenary, but he was also like a grifter mercenary, where he would fool people into hiring him for things that he didn't actually do. It's just like fantastic stories that he's spread. I mean, I guess that's an interesting way to do it. I don't know. So I just, like, you could probably not use Hercules to do that. I don't know. But I think the Greek stories are really hard to adapt because they're often so... What is the word? Like, inconsistent, maybe? I don't know. I can definitely see the Odyssey having some problems. And it's having a lot of backlash right now with the inauthentic casting. And I think the big thing right now is that they didn't hire any Greeks to act in this film at all. Any Greek people of Greek or descent. Like, it's all just American people, and then, obviously missteps with some other stuff. It's just crazy to me, I need to make that juice box look more like the juice box from up there. I think it's probably okay, though. It'll be okay. Whatever. Make that there. So, yeah, I would really like a full story of the Iliad. But that's crazy. That's insane. There's... Like, the story of the Iliad is so long with so much stuff that happens. There's not a good way to adapt that into, like, a feature-length film, As much as I'd love to see it, it's just not possible all the way. And that's why I want to cut the Odyssey some slack when it comes to faithfully adapting the story. The story is so long. There's so much stuff that they gotta get to and through that it's probably not even possible to get to all the stuff in it. Like, you can hit the major beats, but you gotta kind of hit them quick and move on. And again, I wonder if the Odyssey is going to even be, a 2.5-hour film or something, sit somewhere near the Lord of the Rings marks in length, because there's a lot of stuff to get through it. Or if it's going to be, I doubt it's going to be a part one, like a series of feature-length films. I don't see that happening. With all the backlash too, oh man. And it's just to get to win the awards too, and that's really what is just the worst about it. Is it's literally just to win awards. Like, it's just so frustrating to see. I really wish storytellers could just tell stories without trying to participate in the personal fart smelling of Hollywood, where they're just out there to win awards and be part of the community and to fit in with that society that hates the rest of us. I don't know. Yeah. The whole thing just rubs me the wrong way, you know what I mean? That's just where I'm at with the Odyssey. I'm very hopeful, like I said, very hopeful, but also very skeptical. And I think there are way more ways that they can mess this up than there are for them to make an actually good, successful adaptation. I even think that the Tom Holland casting for Telemachus is not a great cast either. It just seems weird to me, to be honest. I don't know, man. We'll see when it comes out. Holland is a pretty good actor, so maybe he can carry that role. I'm also just worried about what they're gonna do with him, because in the actual story, Telemachus is, excuse me, sorry, super. It's late. It's long after hours. He's super unsure of himself, and he really needs Athena's guidance to help him kind of get squared up and have the confidence, because he's really beaten down in the story. His dad's been gone for 20 years almost. By the time he actually kind of really enters the story, his dad's been gone for nearly 20 years. And he needs the encouragement from Athena. But then again, and I said this before, why is it that you can't hire just Tom Holland or just Zendaya, that they come as like a package deal? So now she's got to be his mentor, and I can't get through seeing that. The Tom Holland Zendaya show. And again, I just think that she's a bad cast for Athena, and maybe Tom Holland will work for Telemachus, and maybe Matt Damon will work for Odysseus, but I don't know. I got my fingers crossed that it's going to work out. But I really, really don't think it will. It's going to be, what it's going to end up being is it's going to be a film that gets really great critic reviews, and then it absolutely tanks with the fans. That's what I see happening, is it's absolutely going to tank with the fans. So like, you're going to see the Rotten Tomatoes scores come out, and it's going to be like a 30% favorability on Rotten Tomatoes for fans, but it's going to be like 80% to 90% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. And people are going to be like, the fans hated this. Like, why do you keep doing this? But it's going to make $1 billion at the box office, because, of course, it's Christopher Nolan's film, so everyone's going to go see it. And it'll make its money in the box office. So the investors will get their money back. Christopher Nolan will win an award for it. And so he'll get his award for playing the game. And the fans are going to hate it. And yet again, the fans get screwed over because Hollywood is playing the game. And the whole reason that they're able to even do this is because there is no alternative to Hollywood. If you want to watch a film, it's going to come from Hollywood. And we've even seen recently with Animal Farm that even those other types of studios are still beholden to those rules. Because Animal Farm was produced by Hollywood, basically. And then it was bought, the rights to distribute that were bought by that Angel Studios, which is the super conservative movie or entertainment organization or whatever. And we seen recently that they started shilling Animal Farm, which is a pro-communist ideology. It was like rewritten to be pro-communism instead of anti-communism, and it's like got this anti-capitalist agenda that makes it so anti-capitalist that it's basically communist, and it absolutely subverted the ideology of that studio, all for the sake of money. So you can't escape Hollywood no matter where you go. And until we can, we're just going to keep getting, the fans are just going to keep getting taken advantage of by these super wealthy shills who are only in this for awards and money. And we're just going to keep getting crappy products as a result of that. And they're not going to care because, as far as they're concerned, we're just brainless trogs out there willing to do anything for a monkey banging a cymbal. And I think that's the biggest shame of all, is that people will maintain these absolutely horrendously low standards for their stories and entertainment, all while complaining about each other of the manufactured hate against everyone else. I don't know. But there's always the chance that this film is actually really good, and I'm willing to give it that shot. And maybe that's a little hypocritical sounding, since I just said we need to hold these filmmakers and stuff to higher standards. But if the story's good, the casting really doesn't matter. Because let's be honest, if we all go see the film and it's actually really good, it's well written, well paced, the visual effects are good, it's at least mostly faithful to the source material, other than, the weird casting decisions, then people are going to be like, yeah, it was pretty good, and they're going to forget about all the stupid stuff. And we'll move on to the next thing that probably bothers everybody. Which, who knows what that's going to be. Probably the new Harry Potter. That was also hilariously miscast. But I don't know, whatever. I'll tell you though, I'm just waiting for the new Star Fox to come out, which is going to be soon. And horrifically ugly designs or not, I'll still play it, because I played it Star Fox 64. That also had horrifically ugly designs, but that was hardware limited, not creativity limited. But I'll still play it, and I'm sure I'll still have fun, because Star Fox 64 was freaking awesome. I just don't know why they don't make a new Star Fox, rather than they keep dipping into the well of the Star Fox 64 stuff. But yeah, I don't know. What are you gonna do? She's got like a little stripe on the side of her uniform there. That's her work uniform. Is that background? I think that's background. It's okay to make it weird like that. It's stylistic choice. That's always what I go with. If something I make is ugly, it's a stylistic choice. Yeah, you forgot a finger, so your character only has 4. Stylistic choice. Definitely miscounted fingers on the sketch phase. But that's okay. Stylistic choice. So, yeah, I don't know. That's where I'm at with the Odyssey. I'm hoping it's good. But I'm skeptical that it will be. If it's anything like The Boys, that show sucked after season 1, man. And you cannot convince me otherwise. It like abandoned the source material so quick in season 2. It was ridiculous. Like, I get artistic changes, but come on. When you've got your showrunner coming out literally saying it's a political thing, like a political feel-good story for him, you've lost me. Like, I'm not gonna support your political feel-good thing so that you can badmouth whoever in politics. It doesn't even matter what side it is. Conservative, liberal. Stop with the modern political injections and stuff. And just give me a good story. That's all I care about. Apparently The Boys was popular, though, so maybe there's people out there who really do like it. I don't know. I'm sure there are. Oh, we forgot Sakura's hand. Can't forget her hand. She needs that hand for whooping Deezer. Deezer is the raccoon. Yeah, I haven't finished Pragmata yet, but that is a good game. I recommend that. If you haven't played that game yet, and you have the means to do so, you should. It's such a good game. And it's not because of the story or the sad dad or whatever they were saying it is. It does have a decent story. The story is not why you play it, though. It's actually really fun gameplay. The plot where you're the dad taking over for the girl. I haven't beaten the game yet, so I don't know how it ends. But the plot where you kind of adopt this young robot girl, that's cool. And it's feel good and everything like that. So, and that's cool too. If you're into that, definitely check it out. Back to the background layer here. Otherwise, man, yeah, I like that game. But I don't know. That's kind of all I had to talk about tonight. Was just the Odyssey. My concern with it. A huge fan of Greek mythology, so I'll hold out hope that it's good. But I won't be surprised when it gets crappy reviews and sucks, just because it's how it goes these days. But all right, anyway, see you around.